Good morning. It's Lisa with Lisa Heal Yourself. And today I want to talk about something that's in my program. I want to share it with you here because it's super important. So when we look at all the inner techniques that we have to heal, one thing that we can get confused about is when and how to use them, in what situations to use them. And I talk a lot about victim consciousness on this channel. I talk a lot about not sinking into victim consciousness, that victims can't heal. You must lift yourself out of this victim consciousness and into a higher vibration where you're thinking about the things that you do want rather than what you don't want. This is Manifestation 101. But when you are chronically ill, it can be extremely hard not to fall into victim consciousness. And so I want to talk a little bit about that today and what tools to use when you do so. If you are chronically ill, if you have been suffering a long time, if you are trying to heal, but it hasn't worked yet and you feel like you are failing, and you're suffering with overwhelming symptoms and sensations, it can be extremely difficult psychologically for you to handle, to continue to work towards healing and not see the results. And this often leads us to this victim consciousness mentality where we sink down. So let me take you through it. I'm sure you have been there. You have this chronic disappointment. The energy of it begins to get really heavy in your body. The weight of the disappointment that you're trying so hard and it is not working starts to settle on you, and it starts to pull you down, like as if you're in quicksand, pulling you down. This heavy, crushing disappointment. You might feel disillusioned, helpless, completely hopeless, overwhelmed, angry, completely out of control. Your self-worth plummets because you haven't been able to do this. And you feel like if you were smart enough, then you would be able to figure this out. Like, why can't I figure this out? And your self-esteem plummets. Your disappointment swallows you. And you feel so hopeless. This is what it feels like to slide into victim consciousness. It's heavy. It's almost impossible not to sink once you get caught in it, just like quicksand. It is completely understandable that you feel this heavy emotion, that you feel this disappointment, that you're sinking down into victim consciousness. Who wouldn't? You're suffering with a chronic illness and symptoms and sensations, and you are trying and you are putting in your effort and you are spinning your wheels and you're not getting to where you want to go. And day after day, that can take a toll on a person. And so I don't blame you at all for falling into victim consciousness. I lived in victim consciousness for years when I was ill, but you can't heal from this state. So this is what you do. Step one, when you notice yourself falling into victim consciousness, and I mean, you're not just kind of in it, but like you're like caught in it, and then you feel it pulling you down. When you are caught in the quicksand of victim consciousness thinking, you must allow yourself to feel it. So I know I just told you victims can't heal and don't stay in this state, but a lot of what people do is they resist it. They're like, I don't want to see it. I'm trying not to be a victim. I'm trying to raise my vibration. I'm trying to look over here. But the victim conscious state has you, right? You are in the quicksand. You are experiencing overwhelming disappointment, overwhelming grief, overwhelming heartache, overwhelming feeling of helplessness and hopelessness. When someone's caught in quicksand, they can't get out and do the task that they were just meant to do. They have to get out of the quicksand first. Yes, I don't want you to stay in victim consciousness thinking, but when you are in it, you have to allow yourself to feel it. That is the number one step that most people miss because they're so busy resisting it and pushing it away. And what you resist persists. Okay, what you focus on grows, so you don't want to stay there for long, but what you resist persists. So we must feel it in its entirety. Why? because you are not going to get out of the quicksand, get yourself free unless you do. So what does this look like? This is the time where we use some of our tools. Now, you can probably use a number of different methods, but my go-tos in this situation are either journaling, where now you sit down and you express everything that you're thinking and feeling, all those things that you need and want to say. Or if someone happens to be there that is trusted, your spouse, a parent, somebody who loves you and can listen, you allow yourself to cry and you let it all out. The third thing is you sit in a somatic meditation where you allow yourself to feel whatever is coming up, all the feelings, all the emotions, all the sensations, and you allow them to be there. Okay? So these are 3 ways we can do it. We can do it somatically through the somatic meditation where we just allow ourselves to be in it. We can express it verbally to someone else, or even put on a videotape and express it verbally, cry, get it out. Or we can write it out. We can write it out. This mind to paper really helps, okay? So these are my go-tos. These are the go-to tools that I use when you are stuck in victim conscious quicksand. You are going to turn and you are going to feel everything that you're feeling. You are going to express it all. You are going to let it all be there. You are going to let it all out. All those overwhelming feelings that you have been holding on inside. I hate this. I don't want this. Like all the victim things. Like, why aren't I smart enough? Why can't I do this? Why did this happen to me? Like all the things, you know, the things. Why me? Let yourself go to the depths of being a victim, to the depths. Now, when you are expressing this to someone else, or expressing this to a video camera, or expressing it through writing, or feeling it internal, letting your thoughts express it, right? Letting every feeling and thought and emotion come up. Why do we do this? What do we need? Well, firstly, we want to be seen and we want to be heard. This is why people express to therapists, express to their significant others, express to friends. You need to be seen and heard. Even if it's only by yourself in journaling or video expressing, you need to feel deeply seen and heard, validated. You need to know that somebody is listening. And what do we want from this person in that moment? Think about it. We want empathy. We want compassion. We want to be told that they're not going anywhere, that they've got us, that they won't leave us, and that yes, we are going to get through this. We just need someone to say, you're going to be okay. You're going to get through this. I see you. I hear you. I won't leave you. I'm going to be here, and you're going to be okay. This is going to be okay. This too shall pass. We want empathy, like a deep understanding, and compassion. So in this moment, when you are doing the tools yourself, expressing to a video camera, journaling, sitting in a somatic feeling where you're allowing everything to come up, you have to hear you. You have to see you. You have to be the one with the empathy for you. You have to be the one that brings compassion to you, to that deep self-love, that unconditional, I will never abandon you. I will always love you. I will always be here for you feeling until you feel it, right? You have to express everything that's in your heart. That's step 1. And then step 2, right? You have to express it and feel it and sink to the depths of it. And step 2, you have to give yourself what you truly need. And that is understanding, being seen, being heard, being validated, being loved unconditionally, knowing that you're not going anywhere, deep empathy, deep compassion. And you give this to yourself until inevitably you will feel better. You will feel more seen, more heard, more loved. Just like if somebody was there doing it for you, you know, your mom doing this for you. Eventually, the tears are gonna go away. Eventually, you're gonna start to come out of that quicksand and you're gonna start to feel the love, you're going to start to feel like maybe this is going to be okay. You're going to start to see some cracks, and you're going to start to see some light. And it is at this moment when we see the light, when we can feel some of the love, when we have a sense that everything might be okay, right? These cracks of light, these cracks of okayness, right? Our tears start to dry up. We feel like we've been seen, heard, and empathized with. We feel deep compassion and love for ourselves. Now, number 3 is when we must take action and make a decision. We must decide. I am not going to stay in victim consciousness. I love myself too much to stay here. And because I have my own self-love, my own empathy, my own compassion, my own unconditional love that I know I'm never going to abandon myself, I know what I need to do. It's decide that I can go forward. Decide that I can heal, that I will heal. Believe that I can heal, and now turn my thoughts towards my future, towards what I want. This is when manifesting becomes really important. The law of attraction, the law of vibration, the law of assumption. This is when we deeply trust and believe that we are going to be okay. And we allow ourselves, with our will and our determination and the energy that we gained in the second step, which is through the self-compassion and the self-love and the self-validation, we use this energy that we've gained to propel ourselves forward into the belief that I can do this. I am strong enough. I am worth it. I know I can heal. I'm going to focus on what I want, not what I don't want. And we turn the ship. We turn the ship. We start to focus and sail in the direction that we want. We start to listen to uplifting things. We start to use the law of attraction, the law of assumption. We start to use tools like future visualization, manifestation, reality creation, these other tools that we have in our toolbox. This is when we use them, when we see the hope, when we feel the love, when we see the cracks of light. We take them and we use these tools to help us propel forward, to help move us forward. Like, I'm strong enough. I'm going to take this action. I'm going to take this action in alignment with what I truly want. I'm going to focus my vision. What I truly want, I know I can do this, and I will do this. And when we're feeling that strongly, then we're in a different energy. We're in the energy of I will, I am, I can. This is inevitable. It's going to happen. And we can use this energy to keep going forward. Now, when you're on this path, if you are really chronically ill, this path might happen every day. It might happen 2 or 3 times a day. Eventually, right, you're going to get here eventually, and then something's going to happen, and you're going to come down a little bit in vibration and down until you wonder if you can do it, until you start to feel disappointed again, until you start to kind of lose hope, and you're sinking, and then you get caught in the quicksand, and you're right back into victim consciousness thinking. You hear yourself, you do the steps, you follow the steps, you do step 1, you do step 2, then you do step 3, you're right back into this, and you might have to do this cycle 10 times a day. You might have to do it once a day. You might have to do this deeply as often as it happens. Eventually, you will be able to stay in this state longer. Eventually, you won't get sucked down into the quicksand quite so easily. Eventually, your symptoms will start to ease up a little bit. They will start to relieve a little bit. You will start to live in this moment a little bit. Things will get a little bit less. You will start to have some wins, and your energy will have wins, and your deep love and compassion and everything that you start to feel for yourself will begin to push you further and further away from falling and collapsing every single time. So what might start as you doing this 5 times a day might end up being that you have to do it every other day, and then every few days, and then once a week. And then eventually you are going to build yourself out where you don't fall into the victim consciousness thinking over time. You can hold. You can go straight to the self-love, and you can hold and visualize what you want and go toward what you want and hold what it is that's actually going to heal you, because you can never heal from this state. You can only heal from this state. But I realize that when you're chronically ill, you will ultimately always end up in this state, and you need the tools to pull you out of the state, and you need to do them repetitively, continually, over and over, until you feel safe, until you can count on your own self-love, until you can count on your own empathy and compassion, until you know you're going to be with yourself, you'll never abandon yourself. When you start to be able to trust yourself, good things start to happen and energies start to shift, and you won't live in this space quite as much. I would like to wrap up this video by saying that victims can't and won't heal. Although don't beat yourself up when you're in victim consciousness state, and don't resist this state, because you can't heal when you're in resistance either, because what resists persists. You must go fully into it. You must fully feel it. You must fully express it. You must fully be heard and witnessed and loved and heard and have empathy and compassion by yourself until you see the light, until you feel enough love, self-love, that you can start to go towards what you want. You can focus, you can rise, you can get up, you can move to it. And this is a continual cycle. Only you can do it. Only you can give it to yourself. Only you can get yourself out of this quicksand. But if you continue to do this over and over, if you live this over and over, if you, when you're in the quicksand, don't believe that you're going to stay there forever. If you can quickly become aware, catch yourself, and start to move into the steps and stay there. These aren't fast steps. It might take you an hour to express and to feel everything that you're doing. And then it might take you another hour until you really feel heard and loved unconditionally by yourself, and until you really feel like you've been given the compassion that you need, until you start to feel the energy on what it takes to move towards manifesting a state that can put you into healing, that can bring healing. So this isn't a rush, and this isn't a one-time thing. This is an over and over thing. We use different tools in different parts of our journey, even in different parts of our day. So if you enjoyed this video, if you liked this video, this is a video that is actually in my program, and I hope you got value from it. If you did, please give it a like, please share, subscribe, and I will see you in the next video.